Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the Saturday review. I've got fuck. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the Saturday review. I've just had to take fucking hell. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Saturday review. I've just had to take a moment to compose myself. Three outtakes, which I probably will be cobbling onto the beginning of this, seeing as you seem to like them so much. And on that subject, I will begin with a post that Jason put on about a week and a half ago. It was a picture of what was supposedly my notes that I'd left lying about. It obviously wasn't my notes. Do I really come across like this? What was written on this pad? Let's see. Good morning and welcome to the channel. Fuckety fuck fuck oh fuck fuckety fuck fuck. Good morning, everyone, and have a great week. Fuck. Is that really how I come across? I really need to clean my act up a bit. Right, where to start? A lot of these comments are from probably a week or two back, so please forgive me if you've completely forgotten writing them. I'll start with Chris. This was on one of the Saturday reviews, so it was probably last week. Thanks for the vid, Tony. 8 a.m. is a perfect time. It absolutely is, and I would love to be able to do or to schedule videos to drop at 8 a.m. on a Saturday and a Sunday, but the only time I can actually do that is when I'm off for the week, and I've got all week to do it. How it's going to work from here on in, I think I'm going to record the Saturday review the previous Sunday and schedule it to drop on the following Saturday, which is what's happening now. And the Sunday service will be recorded on the Sunday morning, but I will try to do it nice and early and get it uploaded sort of 9-10 o'clock-ish, something like that, so it won't be too bad. That's providing that YouTube isn't playing up and my editing software is not giving me problems, but that's how I would like it to work. So yeah, you're right, Chris, it is the perfect time. You put my 2 cents on decades for soundtracks. For me is the 80s. There were some cracking ones about then. Over the Top, Stallone, I don't think I've even seen that movie. The Rocky movies, you've only got to hear that fanfare at the beginning and you know exactly what you're watching. You don't even need to see the image. Stand By Me, I had no idea that they'd actually released a soundtrack of that, but I'll be very curious to see what's on it. So I might look that one up actually. I've got Spotify now, so it's probably on there. Labyrinth, I do remember that being a cracking score, and obviously you got that song by Bowie, so that would have been on there, so that would have been a cool one. Back to the Future, Huey Lewis and the News, and various others. Cracking soundtrack. You put Goodies. I remember the Goodies on TV in the 70s, and this is probably going to come up on Jason's TV thread. I think you mean Goonies, but tell me if I'm wrong. Goonies, cracking movie. Another one that I caught up with for the first time. Was it last year or the year before? It took me 30 years plus to come to that one. But the soundtrack was excellent on that. The Karate Kid. What was that song? It was Peter Cetera, or was that the second one? Can't remember the song from it, but yeah, cracking soundtrack. I could go on all day. There were some good ones, definitely. And you put question for you: what makes you purchase a film instead of just streaming or a cinema visit? My views on cinema visits are pretty well documented. I have said before that I will at some point go back into a cinema and actually watch a movie on the big screen. I would love to do that, but I hear so many reports of mobiles going off, people talking, just generally rowdy audiences, and it's just not me. So what makes me buy, what was the question? What makes you purchase a film instead of just streaming or cinema visit? I mean, physical media is the way to go, definitely. Streaming, I've been reading just recently that a lot of movies that you buy on streaming services, as soon as those streaming services lose the rights to that movie or TV show, it disappears. So you basically pay for something that could be taken off at any minute. So I'm not sure I'd go down the streaming route unless I had to. But physical media, I just think it's great. It's just lovely on a Saturday night to grab a film, put it on, get the popcorn out or the pizza, and just sit there and watch it and be able to pause it to go and make a drink or whatever. And now that I've entered the world of 4K, you're watching it in the best possible way and on the best possible format. And I'm sure you'd agree with this. I mean, my TV is either 60 or 65 inch. I can't remember which one it is. If I went any bigger than that, it would literally drown the room. So I'm watching it on the biggest screen possible. So it's just that thing of being able to watch a movie in peace and quiet and not have people giving it this in your ear and, crackling on popcorn and all this sort of stuff, which I'm probably the worst offenders for. When I used to go, I always used to have popcorn. But they all seem to buy these bags of sweets and all you can hear is crumpling plastic and then mobiles going up. Oh God, no, I'm not going into this again. But that is pretty much my answer. I much prefer to watch a movie in my own home, in peace and quiet, but I'm not ruling out going to the cinema again. And I would love, as I've said before, to visit the Red Carpet Cinema in Barton, because I've heard that is basically a throwback to how cinema visits used to be, and that could possibly tempt me back in. I will have a look at what's screening at some point, and I'll take a trip there and I shall let you know. It'd be even quite cool to do a little video from inside there thinking about it. But yeah, that's my reason for that one. I loved your video of the Bloodsport media book, by the way. My God, you were caressing that as if you absolutely loved it. I could sense the love that you have for that item from here. I'm not sure it's a film I would get through. I've heard there's a really, really nasty leg break right at the end. And I think it's a shame in a way that movies like that, they've got one little bit that just puts me off the whole thing. I will never, ever forget sitting in the cinema watching The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum version of The Fly, the David Cronenberg original. The arm wrestling scene, for some reason, I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming at all, and it was just horrible. And I have watched the film before, since, but I would tend to sort of fast forward through that bit or skip on to the next chapter. This is the reason I won't watch movies like Nobody or Sisu, which I'll be coming on to a bit later because I think Dave Oliver reviewed that one. But I don't know, maybe I will at some point. I mean, I've heard Nobody is a brilliant movie, and now I'm hearing that Sisu is absolutely amazing. So maybe I should, just take the plunge and have a go, but we'll see. But yeah, you certainly did love that Bloodsport media book. I know it's one of your favourite movies as well. I don't think I've ever sat through a Van Damme movie, not one. So apart from Bloodsport, which I don't think I'd stand a chance with because of the leg break, are there any that you would recommend that I might stand a chance of getting through? So yeah, look forward to hearing from you on that one, mate. Now then, head switching week. Who have I been this week? Alf Garnett. Bloody hell. That geezer with the blue hair. Who the fuck is that supposed to be? I couldn't work it out. I think Guy, you put don't get triggered. I can't get triggered because I've no idea who it's supposed to be. Is it Elton John? Angela Merkel? Oh God, I don't know. Donald Trump. I think that was you, Rick. Mike Tyson. I think that was you as well. That's the dog. Vladimir Putin. I think that was you as well, Rick. What am I coming across as here? I'm loving them. Keep them coming, guys. It's becoming like a tradition every week now, just seeing who I'm going to be. Jason P. Just watch the video. Great as always. Drop them at 8 a.m. Perfect. Then they are there for whenever zoners are ready to watch them. Believe me, mate, I am going to do it whenever I can. This one will be scheduled to drop at 8 a.m. next Saturday. As I say, the Sunday one will be a little bit later, but that's because I'm going to be recording it on the morning, and short of doing it at like 4 o'clock in the morning and giving it plenty of time to do its thing, it's not gonna work that way. So let's see now what else. Not sure any of my top 100 TV shows will appear in that Starburst magazine. I'm going to bring that in here, and whenever one goes on every day, I'll have a look and see whether it's actually made it in. I think you'll find that one or two will. And you put Guy. Guy, I agree. 8 a.m. is perfect. Yeah, I will keep it going. I promise you. I will do my level best, my utmost to keep it at 8 a.m. This dog's doing my head, and she's wandering backwards and forwards. So let's see, Guy. Great one again, matey. Re the films I'd like to see at cinema that I missed. I'd love to see Superman and Superman 2 along with Tron. I was too young for them when they released originally. A lot of folks diss Tron, but I love it. I remember it. This is, was it Jeff Bridges when he gets pulled into a computer game? It was a Disney movie, if I remember right, and I think they did a sequel to it, probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I did see Tron, and I quite enjoyed it. I thought the visuals were amazing, especially for the time. I think this was early 80s, wasn't it? It was at a time when Disney were doing some really visually marvellous stuff. I think The Black Hole was another one that looked amazing. His dog's drinking water behind me in case you wonder what's going on. Oh God. But yeah, Tron, I wouldn't mind seeing that again. I haven't seen it for, oh blimey, decades. Must be decades. And I've certainly not seen the sequel. And you mentioned The Commitments. I bloody told you so. Get the soundtrack for your car stereo. I will be grabbing hold of it, probably on Spotify actually. And I also loved the Restless Natives soundtrack that you put on the group. I saw that film for the first time, I think it was last year, and really enjoyed it. I was going through another phase of Scottish movies. I think I'd watched Gregory's Girl, Local Hero again, one of Bill Forsyth's very early movies called That Sinking Feeling, and I spotted Restless Natives and thought, that sounds in a similar vein. I'd heard of it, and I remember the VHS sleeve, and I remember it being in a lot when I worked at the VHS library, but I'd never actually seen it, and I absolutely loved it. I don't know whether it's out on Blu-ray. I'd be very tempted to grab a copy if it was. But yeah, I love that soundtrack. And you put You Go in a Month with no purchases. I don't know. I mean, we're coming into September now, and I'd love to make September a no spend, or let's say a minimum spend month. Because I really do. I mean, I'm dumping titles from upstairs, sort of books and DVDs and videos and Blu-rays and stuff like that. But I'm buying more than I'm getting rid of, and that's completely defeating the object of what it is I'm trying to do. So I'm going to try and do my utmost to keep September spending down to a minimum as far as Blu-rays and DVDs go. But it probably was a ridiculous statement to make, as you will probably find out over the next month. And I love the post that you put on the picture of that massive TV. When did you get that? That is awesome. And that title card of mine looks brilliant on it. I'm well impressed with that. Right, on to Jason Kerr, our Ginger Ninja. Loved your Day of the Animals review. I absolutely adore that film. I don't think you loved it as much as I do. Reason being that I saw it in 1977 when it was first released at Burton Odeon, when pretty much every week there was a double bill of movies. And Day of the Animals, let me just put this down for a second. That is my Blu-ray copy. It's a German import, I think due to the 16 thing in the corner there. So that's my copy of it, and it went with the car. It was on a double bill with this, I've been trying to track down the UK quad poster from outside the cinema ever since, and occasionally one comes on eBay for a stupid price, hundreds. But this was a cracking movie. If you've not seen this, Jason, I would very, very much recommend it. As I say, this was a double bill. I was still at school at the time. It was a double A, double feature. Now, double A is the equivalent of today's 15, but double A was over 14s only. The certificates back then were, I think it was U, which was pretty much what you've got now. What is PG now used to be an A certificate. What was 15, what is 15 now was an AA, which is this one. And then you got what is 18 now used to be the X certificate, which was so much better. It was so cool to be able to say that you'd seen an X certificate movie at the pictures, and it was. It's not the same. As soon as it changed to 18, I thought, that's boring. That's really fucking boring. But if you've not had a chance to look at this, it stars James Brolin. Can't remember who else is in it. But if you do love your 70s sci-fi horror, totally recommend that one. And I did enjoy your reviews. As I say, I think I thought more of it than you did, but mostly because of I think it was because of when I saw it. As I say, I was still at school. It was the first remotely adult film I think I'd ever seen, with it being over 14s, and I absolutely loved it, and the car. So yeah, have a look at the car if you've not already seen it. You probably already put a video review of it, and I've not seen it, but let me know on that one. Dave Oliver, your Sisu review. My God, you really did love that movie. I think, as you say, if it's not in your top 3 by the end of the year, I'd be very, very surprised. I've heard a lot of good things about the film. I've heard it's mega, mega violent. So whether I'd actually get through it, I don't know. But again, if I can be persuaded, I may just be tempted to invest in that one in Blu-ray, because I'm hearing as well that the cinematography and the locations are just stunning. And I get the feeling it would lend itself very, very favourably to the 4K format. So yeah, I may be tempted. I don't know yet. I shall read a few more reviews and see how I go with it. I do remember Green Grass, by the way. Was it Tyler Boyce, the son? He's in it. Yeah, I will take a look at that almost certainly. And I loved your trailer reaction video for VHS 85. Now, I've not seen any of these VHS movies. And I do keep meaning to take them in because they are all on Shudder. But I had a look at that trailer and thought it looked amazing. It really does look good. So yes, I will be almost certainly taking that one in. Like you, I do love anthology films, especially from the 70s. I don't know whether you'll remember any of these, but sort of Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Dr. Terror's House of Horror, Asylum. I loved all of those anthology movies, and then of course you got the slightly more modern day ones, Creep Show, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, the anthology format I do actually love. You're basically getting 4 or 5 mini movies within one, which is great value for me, that. So yeah, I will be taking in that VHS one, that's for sure. Mark, you did a review, I think it might have been last week or the week before, so this is another one that you might not remember, of a movie called Cobweb. I've heard great things about this as far as horror goes. I think, Chris, you also did a review of this one, basically saying that it wasn't what you think it's going to be. You think, and I thought this as well, that it was going to be to do with spiders. I'm an arachnophobe myself, so I hate spiders. I bloody well loathe them. And early September, sort of October, when they come indoors is terrifying for me, because I wouldn't say they're all over the house, but you know what it's like. But no, Cobweb is not to do with spiders. There are spiders in it apparently, but Mark, you watched it as well, and you put, well, my thoughts, it was okay. Would I watch it again? Definitely not. However, the wife's review, and I quote, it was fucking wank. There's a budding Mark Kermode right there. Jason P, you replied to that. We've watched a few films today, about to watch our fifth. One of them was Stallone's Daylight. It's about 20 years since I've seen it. I said to the wife, I'll make us a brew after this. She said, I'll make us one now. This is shit. There's Simon Mayo right there. We've got our own Commode and Mayo take. Oh, God. So, Daylight. I remember seeing that years ago. Is this the one set in the tunnel or something like that? It's set underground, I'm sure it is. But I will definitely be taking a look at Cobweb, because I've heard some great things about it. I just love a movie that I go into, especially a horror movie, completely blind and not knowing what I'm in for. So yes, I will be taking that one in. Jason, you put a post on again last week or the week before, and I will be catching up with these, of the Saw X poster, and you put, if ever a film poster put Tony Harris off watching a movie, then this is it. And it's a picture with a guy sort of like that, with two tunnel contraptions over his eyes. Anything to do with eyes, as you know, is an absolute no-no for me. So I was channel hopping a few nights ago. I can't remember whether it was Netflix or Prime, but they got all of the Saw movies for streaming, and for a brief few seconds I thought, shall I have a look? Shall I just see whether I can make it through one? The only one I've ever seen is the first one, and I think I was okay with it up until the hacksaw scene at the end. But I don't know. Maybe if I'm feeling brave enough one night, I'll start at the beginning and work my way through them. But I just find them horrible. They're sadistic, they're violent, they're nasty, horrible movies. And Jason, you agree with me. You've already said that you don't particularly like them. So I don't know. Maybe. If I'm feeling particularly brave one night, we'll see how we go. Let's see. Talking Pictures TV screened last week or the week before, The Day of the Triffids. Movie from 1963. I remember it terrified me the first time I saw it. I can't have been very old at the time, probably about 9 or 10. It was on TV, and it did scare the crap out of me. Guy, you said, I saw the series when it was on TV back in the day. Never seen the movie though. It's a cracking movie. It is absolutely brilliant. The only thing is, with Day of the Triffids, every print that I've ever seen of that film, including that one TV broadcast and any other TV broadcast, the prints have been absolutely dreadful. I don't know whether it's sort of an original print that's just deteriorated over the years. I've rented VHS copies of it. I've downloaded sort of DVD copies, and they all seem to be the same. So if there's one movie that's crying out for a restoration, Day of the Triffids is one. I would highly recommend any company that does sort of restoration of movies. I'd have said Network if they hadn't have already gone. I'd say definitely take this movie under your wing, because it is crying out for a Blu-ray release, but not as it is at the moment, after it's been remastered or whatever they do with it to clean up all the scratches and the blips off it. I would love to see it. But the TPTV print was pretty much the same, pretty atrocious. So hopefully that'll get sorted. Darren Nichols, you don't often comment, dude, on the group, so it was great to see you posting the movie The Spirit of St. Louis. This is a Jimmy Stewart movie. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. Apparently it's to do with Charles Lindbergh, who made the first intercontinental flight from London to, was it? I can't remember where it was. But I definitely want to see it. My thing with James Stewart is a movie called The Flight of the Phoenix that he made with Richard Attenborough, Ian Bannon, Hardy Kruger, about a group of guys on an airplane that crashes in the middle of the desert, and they basically make a plane out of the old aeroplane. It takes them weeks, obviously months. They obviously close to dying through dehydration and lack of food and this, that and the other. It's a survival story. And I do remember they screened this movie at school. When I was at school, at the end of term, you used to get a movie, and as much as we begged and pleaded for a Bond movie or something like that, we usually ended up with something like Asterix the Gaul, or Flight of the Phoenix, or a movie called Marooned with Gregory Peck. It seemed to have been a running thing with school movies, is people being stranded in places. But Flight of the Phoenix was absolutely brilliant. I took that one to my heart, and I've loved it ever since. So yeah, I would definitely want to see The Spirit of St. Louis Daz, without a doubt. Ashley McGimpsey, your top, will question my top 5 worst movies. I haven't forgotten about it, dude. I need to give this some thought. I'm going to take it that what you mean is movies that I maybe was looking forward to, but were a crushing disappointment when I actually saw them. I'm going to have a think about this over the next week or so, and I'll give my answer next week on that one. I can't think of any. I can usually find something positive to say about pretty much any movie. So I need to have a good think about what movies were really, really disappointing for me. So leave that one with me, mate. I haven't forgotten about it. I watched 2 movies last week on Saturday night. One was Alleluia, starring Dawn French, the other one, Jennifer Saunders. Russell Tovey is in this, Derek Jacobi is in this, Judi Dench. It's a kind of comedy set in an old folks ward of a hospital that is facing closure. You've got to be careful with this movie. If you watch the trailer, it looks like a bright, breezy comedy set in an old folks home, and it is to some extent, but it has got a really dark streak running through it, which doesn't become apparent until about 3/4 of the way through the movie. It is excellent, it is superb, it is brilliantly acted, a superb film that I would definitely watch again, but it was not what I was expecting it to be. It was completely different from anything that I thought it was going to be. But if you've not seen it, it's called Alleluia, and it is definitely highly recommended. Just don't expect the bright, breezy comedy that you probably think it's going to be. It's got its funny moments, but as I say, there is this dark streak that runs right the way down its back, and it does kind of catch you off guard. The other one I watched was The Manitou. I haven't seen this for years. It was released in 1977, directed by William Girdler, who also by chance directed Day of the Animals. Cracking movie. Lady finds a lump growing on her neck, goes to the hospital to have it checked out. What it turns out to be, I'm not going to tell you, but I remember seeing this years ago, and it shocked the hell out of me. It was one of those movies that, in amongst all the mild horrors of the sort of mid-70s, there's always one or two that turn out to be really awful, fucking nasty things, and this was one of them. It's based on a Graham Masterton book, so that should pretty much tell you what you need to know. Stars Tony Curtis, but if you've not seen it, highly recommended. I don't think it's easy to get hold of. I believe there's a Spanish import on Amazon, which is what I'm going to be investing in. There is a Blu-ray release, but I think it's region locked, so I'm a bit loath to order that, and I'm hoping, really, really hoping that it gets a Blu-ray release or even a 4K release over in the UK, because I would love to see this movie in 4K. It must look absolutely amazing. But yeah, when you find out what this thing is that is growing on her back, and is growing at an alarming rate to the point where it's virtually consuming her, I didn't see it coming, and that was going back years when I first saw it. So right, I'm going to take a break, folks, and I'll be back in a few minutes with a little bit more for you. I've got Doormat Diaries, a one-off. Dave Lowe will know what this is. And I've also found out 5 of my favourite music VHS tapes. As you'll see, there's some gaps behind me, and I think that will be all. So I'll be back in a few minutes with a little bit more. And we're back. Right, the best laid plans of mice and men. I'm going to keep this as short and sweet as I possibly can. Oh, fuck's sake. And we're back. The best laid plans of mice and men. I was going to start this section, and I will keep it short and sweet because I'm sure you've got better things to do than listen to me prattling for another half an hour. What I was going to do was show you what I've bought this week. I was going to do the DVDs and the bits and pieces as Doormat Diaries, which I'll explain to you in a minute. Just put this down. I'll start with the magazines, and then I'll explain what's happened with the rest of it. First one, Film Stories, the latest issue of Film Stories. Now these guys have just financed their first feature-length documentary, and it is on the life and career of Sylvester McCoy, which I can't wait to see. I enjoyed his stint as the Doctor in Doctor Who. He was brilliant in Tiswas in the early 80s. He started life on the kids show that was aimed at deaf children called Vision On in the 60s and early 70s. He's had one hell of a career, and I really look forward to hearing about more of what he's done in this documentary. And as I say, these guys have actually financed it, so I'm looking forward to having a look at that. I've also got, let's see, latest issue of Yours Retro, which you've got articles on Bond, King Kong, the original 1933 version, turning 90 years old. And I think there's also an article in there on how Doctor Who monsters were made, so that'll be worth it. And the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine, which I always enjoy a good read of, so I'm going to be getting into that one. Now, Dave Lowe, one of our group members, started something earlier in the year called Doormat Diaries, where he used to take a picture of his letterbox at home with this little figure sat by the side of it, and a parcel, an Amazon parcel usually, coming through the letterbox. And he basically he didn't do a video, but he did show what the item was. And I thought I would do, just for once, a video version of Doormat Diaries. This is going to be a one-off because I've had to leave all of these parcels unopened over the last week, and it's been killing me because I've been dying to get into them. So this is probably going to be a one-off, purely for that reason, but also because it's Dave's idea and he's going to be picking it up again later in the year when some of his latest pre-orders start arriving. So what I did was I unwrapped 4 DVDs and then the phone packed in, the phone that I actually film these things on. So I've got 4 that are already unwrapped here. The reason it packed in was because the storage was full. I'd forgotten to delete the previous video after I'd transferred it from and onto another drive. It's hardly surprising. So I'll go through these in the order that I unwrapped them. I've still got 3 to do. The first one is the John Wayne movie Branigan. This is released by the BFI. Concerns a detective who comes over from New York, I think, to basically track down a criminal who's taken refuge in the UK, in London. Now I've heard the locations in this are absolutely stunning. It is very 1970s. I believe this was made in 75. It stars Judy Geeson is in there as well. Who else is in there? Judy Geeson, Ralph Meeker, Richard Attenborough. So this is definitely going to be worth a look, and there are some fantastic extras on this, which I don't think were on the last DVD release of Branigan. So I'm looking forward to having a look at that. Next one, Dave Lowe, you'll love this. Operation Condor. I bet you've already got this. We were talking about this very movie last week, and I was saying that I'd seen it decades ago and just laughed all the way through it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So I went onto Amazon that night, found it for $9.99 on Blu-ray. I think this is an 88 films. Yes. So there are loads of extras on this. So I'm going to be taking a look at this, and I'm hoping it holds up since the last time I saw it, which must be going back 20, maybe 30 years. Next one, Altered States. Now this stars William Hurt as a scientist. It's a Ken Russell movie, so visually it's as weird as hell. But he plays a scientist who's basically experimenting with hallucinogenic drugs, all that sort of thing. and sensory deprivation. So I saw this many years ago and thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to. It was one of those movies I'd seen clips of, and I'd seen the trailer to it, and I thought that just looks weird and not very good. Watched it and absolutely loved it. So I'm looking forward to getting into this again, because I haven't seen this since the early 80s. Stars William Hurt, who's one of those actors. He's a little bit forgotten nowadays. He was big in sort of the late 70s, early 80s in movies like The Doctor, Children of a Lesser God, that kind of thing. But he did make a lot of off-the-wall, strange movies, and this was one of them. And when you couple him with somebody like Ken Russell, the result is that. And we have William Hurt again in Eyewitness. Now, this was released around about 1979 under the American title of The Janitor. I believe they promptly changed it to Eyewitness in the UK because not a lot of people knew what a janitor was. I thought everybody knew what a janitor was. Basically, he finds the body of a murdered person in the building where he works. Sigourney Weaver plays the reporter who comes to report on the story, and he tries to get close to her by embellishing the truth and making things up about this body. Now, I saw this many years ago and really enjoyed it, and the thing was, it was on Talking Pictures TV one night last week, and I only saw the first probably 3-4 minutes and thought, I've got to watch that, but I'm not watching it on Talking Pictures TV. I'm going to grab the Blu-ray, and that's exactly what I did. Right, on to Doormat Diaries, as it's supposed to be. Now this one, I have no idea what this is. I can't remember what I've ordered half the time. This is how stupid it's getting. So if I just rip this open, this is, here we go. Oh God, this is somebody's Christmas present. This isn't even mine. Dead or Alive, the singles, demos, sessions and live recordings. This is for my other half. He loves Dead or Alive. So I'm going to put that one back in there and hide that, because he'll be back any time. So yeah, we'll hold on to that one. Right, I'm hoping this one's mine. And this is Amazon again. Pull the strip off. Oh my God. This is one that I've wanted to see on 4K for a long time. I haven't seen this movie for many years. I watched it, must be a couple of decades ago. Absolutely did not understand it. Watched it again probably about a week later, thinking it'll make sense the second time round, and it was even more confusing. And it's one that I've wanted to watch again for quite a while, but didn't realise it was out on 4K until I looked on Amazon. 2001: A Space Odyssey. If anybody can explain the last 10 minutes of this to me, please do. There is a book out there that pretty much does that, and I keep meaning to grab hold of it, that does pretty much explain what they think it is. But I think it's one of these movies that's open to pretty much your own sort of interpretation. But I will definitely be taking a look at this. He's got some cracking documentaries and some other bits and pieces, and the dog is about to go mad any minute now because somebody has just come in next door, I think. If she starts barking, I do apologise. But this is one that I do want to watch again. It's visually stunning, and I'm told the 4K transfer of this is just beautiful. So yeah, I will be taking that one in. And the final one, I know what this is because I only ordered this Friday. And this is, I'm hoping they got it right. They have. A biography of Buster Crabbe. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, you will know of my love for those old black and white cinema serials of the 30s, 40s and 50s. A lot of them starred Buster Crabbe, in particular the Flash Gordon serials. There were 3. Flash Gordon's Trip to Mars, Flash Gordon's Space Soldiers, and Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe. I just think this guy is amazing, and I wanted to know more about him. Now, this book has been on Amazon for quite a while, but it's been at an outrageous price. It's been sort of 30, 40, sometimes £50, and it's come right down to 22. So I thought I would grab a copy of this while it's that price before it shoots up again. But this is not only a biography of him, but obviously a filmography and listing all these serials and stuff that he's been in. So really looking forward to taking a look at that. And that is probably the one and only Doormat Diaries that I will ever do. It was just a one-off, as I say. It's been bloody difficult not bursting into those things, I'll tell you. But I thought, well, Dave's not doing it, I'll just do the one and see how it goes. So let me know on that one. So, right, and finally, I've separated 5 from that little collection behind me, 5 music videos on VHS that I haven't seen for a while, but I would like to watch again. And I don't think any of these are available on DVD, I'm not sure. We shall see. First one, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. Is it the best of? Yeah. Cracking video compilation. I saw these guys live in Nottingham, Royal Concert Hall. Must have been about 5 years ago. Absolutely brilliant, totally superb. I haven't watched this for a while, but that's one I wouldn't mind getting into. Next one. If you were around in the early 80s, you'll remember this one, Duran Duran. This is one of the very early music VHS cassettes that were released. It also featured the legendary video for Girls on Film, and it's completely uncut on this. They couldn't show it even on Channel 4. They wouldn't show it uncut due to all the nudity and all the other kinky stuff that was going off in it. I haven't played this for a while. I don't even know whether it still plays. It's so old. This has got to be, must be about 1980. Does it say on the back? It says 1983. So you're talking 40 years old. So I'd be very surprised if this even still played. But I loved watching that. It's got all the early ones on: Rio, Planet Earth, Hungry Like the Wolf, Girls on Film, Night version as they call it, Save a Prayer, and Is There Something I Should Know. That's a cracking video. I would love to find out if that's out on DVD and get it. Next one, Roxy Music, A History. I used to love Roxy Music in the 70s, and if anyone said to me, why do people keep banging on about the 70s? Why were the 70s so cool? I would simply point them to the video for, let me get the right one, not Virginia Plain, Love is the Drug. I would point them in the direction of the video for Love is the Drug, and I'd say watch that and you will see what was so cool about Roxy Music and the 70s. Love that one. Next one, Steve Mack, you'll appreciate this one. Kate Bush, The Whole Story. I still want to see that before the Dawn Blu-ray, but all the more I'd love to see this out on Blu-ray. It's got all the hits on it. Wuthering Heights, Man with the Child in His Eyes, Wow, Hounds of Love, Army Dreamers, Babushka. Brilliant collection. Again, not played this in many, many years. I don't know what year this was at. 1986. So this is another one that's nearly 40 years old. And finally, Jason, you'll love this one. Now, this is the original from 1983. You'll have this album. Let's see. You Can't Hurry Love, Red Red Wine, Double Dutch, Safety Dance, Too Shy, Moonlight Shadow. There are loads on here. This is the original Now VHS cassette. Again, don't know whether it even plays anymore. It's that old. There you go. And that's it. That's 5 of my favourite music videos from behind me. So, right, I'm going to leave it at that, guys, because I want to get this cobbled together and scheduled for next Saturday morning. So, have a brilliant weekend, and I will talk to you all again. Let's see, if you're watching this on Saturday, I will see you all again tomorrow morning, with it being Sunday. So, have a brilliant weekend, folks, and I will talk to you all again within the next few hours. Take care. Ta-da.